Persona 5 Tactica is an incredible Persona spin-off game diving into a genre that the Persona series and really Atlus as a whole has not dived into before. But when it comes to Persona 5 Tactica, there are some things that you should know before you start playing. Now, of course, I mark these as essential tips, and truly, really they are, but they can also be seen as beginner or just jumping into the game tips. And these are kind of things to keep in mind during your adventure, during your thievery as being one of the Phantom Thieves. What's going on, guys? I'm Dom from The Game Looters, and in this video, I'm bringing you 5 need-to-know essential tips to make sure that you just have a better experience in Persona 5 Tactica. Alright, with that being said, let's jump into the game, and I have brought up a save. This save is around 3/4 into the game, but don't worry, I'm not spoiling anything at all. This is just a save that's a little further along with some things that I didn't do perfectly right, and this is a normal save as opposed to my merciless save, which I am not as far along in because it is hard. All right, with that being said, guys, we are in the main menu here, and as you guys see here, we're chilling in LeBlanc. It's not really a spoiler to know that in LeBlanc, this is your home base. The cafe is where you're gonna go and change everything. So the first tip I have for you is talking conversation, which is talk to your allies, which is right here. As you guys see, I have a exclamation point with a brand new talk conversation, a new conversation that I can have with my allies. But if we click the R button and we see that we have a lot of old conversations that we've had throughout as well, and I don't want to really ruin any of these, but the big tip here is every time you have an exclamation point after a mission or quest, please come back and do these talk conversations. The reality is in Persona 5 Tactica, there is no social skills, there is no confidants, there's none of the min-maxing of relationship building. So you're going to get your feel of that inside of these talk conversations. So a really old one that I had here was "We love haikus." Again, I'm not going to ruin who that is with or what that's about, but just know that this is going to further build a little deeper into one of the characters. The game also does introduce 2 brand new characters in Toshiro, as you see right in front, and Arena, and getting to know them better is going to be done not only through missions, but through these talk conversations. So make sure that you're never missing out on talking to your allies, and make sure you're doing it real time, because you don't want to have an old conversation during a new event. All right. The next thing we need to talk about is the hideout menu here, and inside of the hideout menu, we're going to be going over to the shop. All right, and in the shop, this is something that's going to come up pretty early in the game, and it'll be known to you, but the tip is do not forget about it. Inside of the shop, you can buy brand new weapons for the variety of different characters that you have in your party. If we look at my character here, Joker, we can see that we have a lot of different weapons. Now, as you guys see, the effects of said weapons there's basically no effects, so there's not really any cool, like, freezing ability, dizziness, nothing like that. Those are going to come a little later, and I'm going to cover that in just a moment. But the weapons here are going to be ones that you want to make sure that you're constantly swapping out as you get money from quests and from the main missions. You're going to want to come in, just make sure that you have the best weapons for your party. You might also be asking, how do you sell those weapons? Well, I'm going to show you that in a tip a little later on as well. So with that being said, let's move into the next one before we go into the main section here. So let's go into tip number 3, which is skills. Skills is also going to be something that comes up pretty early on, and we got to make sure that you actually go and min-max your skills. As we see here, there are little exclamation points by Haru and by Futaba and by my main character, Joker. And if we go into there, that simply means that there are new skills available to unlock. Now, my GP points is going to be what allows me to actually unlock them. So if I look down in the bottom right hand, I see that my current GP is 14. That means I only have 14 GP to spend, so I really can't buy anything at all. I can always do this break and recovery one if I want to, but that's not something that is in the plans for me. I'm saving up for some of these other bigger expenses here that are going to help my adventure out more. Again, this is a normal save. If it was a merciless save, then yeah, I'd probably be putting a lot into this category in rebellious resolve here. But essentially, just make sure if you have GP points, spend them, or at least very well spend them wisely, but come in and check often, because you will notice that you will unlock skills pretty frequently. It'll be noticed in the top left of the quarter when new skills are unlocked, but sometimes you're not paying attention. So just make sure you come into this pretty frequently. With that being said, the next tip is quest. So let's talk about quest. So tip number 4 is quest. So let me go into a different menu here. We're going to go into the hideout menu and we're going to go into quest. Right. And so in this specific save, I haven't yet done a lot of the different quests. But the main thing about quests is you want to make sure that you come in and do them pretty frequently. Again, I've stressed this is a normal save. If you're playing on easy, normal, or if you're playing on safe mode, then the quests, you don't have to worry about them too much. But at the end of the day, you want to make sure that you're coming in and checking these a lot. Because as you guys see here, at the right-hand side of the screen, we see that there's GP points to be acquired. So in Operation Boom, I can see that Arena and my favorite kitty cat here, Morgana, are going to both earn 20 GP points. And that can really nicely go into my skill tree and really get us a lot of different buffs. As we see here, Joker and Yusuke can get 20 points, Anne and Morgana again. And this one gives you a specific type of skill for your persona. So this is a lot of different things here. So make sure that you're coming in and doing these quests, and don't do them all at once. I made this mistake, so don't do me. Make sure you're doing these quests very often. Again, depending what difficulty you're playing on. If you're playing on hard or merciless, absolutely never forget them. If you're playing on safe mode, easy or normal, you could probably skip 1 or 2, but I definitely suggest coming through them often. All right, that brings me into my last tip, and that is to subscribe, especially if this video is helping you out or giving you some kind of know-how. No joking, but definitely hit the subscribe and like button. All right, for the last tip, let's head into the Velvet Room. Inside of the Velvet Room here, there are 2 tips, but essentially I'm going to combine them into one. First and foremost, let's talk about forging weapons. Forging weapons is going to be something that comes a little bit after the second world. So just after around 10 or so hours into the game, you're going to be able to forge new weapons. Essentially, what this means is you're going to be sacrificing some of your personas to create weapons. The moment the forge opens up, ASAP begin using this. If we look and let's say I want to get Haru a brand new weapon, I can see that she has these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different options. And as you see here, the different skills is Hypno, Sleep, Sweep, and there's a lot of different ones here. So let's say I want to get her the best weapon I can right now. I can see that to do that, it's going to involve me sacrificing these 2 persona here. So obviously that's a little too much for me right now. But let's say I want to do something that was a little bit better than what I'm using, but something that maybe doesn't sacrifice too much. So I'm going to go into this sweep, and again, the same 2 persona, and you can kind of check on what persona each one will end up using. Again, these 2 are ones that I'm using right now, so let's look at a different character. Let's look at Yusuke, and his weapons are less of. So let's see, do I want to do burn? Yeah, let's see if we can do a burn one. So as we see, I have a persona I'm not currently using in my compendium, and I can see here that by sacrificing this one, it's only going to cost me a little bit of money to summon another persona. So just a little over 3,000, and then I'm able to actually go ahead and craft this weapon. Now Yusuke is going to have a significantly more powerful weapon, and I'm going to have a weapon that has a elemental effect. So this is exactly what you want to do. You want to make sure you come in here often. All right, now with that, I told you guys, how do you sell weapons? So in the disassemble weapon, we just created one for Yusuke. So if we come to Yusuke here, we can now sell this weapon for 350 yen. So let's go ahead and do that. And now we got 350 yen back into our coin pocket. And that's how you sell weapons. All right, the very last tip inside of the Velvet Room here during tip number 5 is going to be just min-maxing your personas. Fusing personas has a different options. You have your basic fuse, you have fuse by result, and special fusion. I can speak, I promise. Fusion, huh? in the beginning of the game, only Fuse 2 personas is going to be available. But as the game opens up, you'll have Fuse by Result and Special Fusion. Make sure you guys just come and use these often. And you want to make sure that you're always kind of fusing your nonsensical persona that you're not currently equipped to your people. To your Phantom Thieves. You want to make sure that you're always doing this, especially so you can go in and min-max your results and min-max your compendium and get as many different ones as you can. Reason being is you want to have the ones that are going to be the most beneficial to the team, because if we go into like the equip, we can see that depending on what you have, if you look over, there's unique skills and inherited skills, and those are going to be the different buffs that help out your team. So you want to make sure that you are going into your persona and basically maxing out your compendium to get as many personas as you can, and making sure that you have the right fusion of personas with your Phantom Thieves to make sure that you guys are having the best opportunity to have the best exactly on the map and have the best personas available. Of course, remember, these are sub-personas, so these are only complementary to your main ones like Arsene. But again, you want to make sure you come in here often. That way you can get like your favorite persona. Like me, I'm working my way towards Alice in my other save. So again, just make sure you come in and max out your compendium often. All right, my friends, those have been 5 tips. I know I snuck a couple extra ones in the middle there, but those are 5 tips to drastically help out your adventure here in Persona 5 Tactica. I hope they helped you out. If they did, leave us a like. If they did, throw us a subscribe, and we'll see you on the next Persona 5 Tactica video. Peace out, my friends.